Okay. I've been trying to film so many times and I'm so fed up with not feeling comfortable with it. So I put makeup on. I have my most comfy pajama on. I think we can do this. Can we do this? Let's see. Hello people. How you doing? I hope 2021 it's going okay. Let's settle our expectations to bare minimum. Just bare minimum because at this point I don't know if you're doing this too, but it's just like I'm setting myself up for disappointment and everything is becoming a great thing just because it's not disappointing. I don't know if that's a good approach, but that's the approach I'm having. So you may notice I'm in a different location, environment thing. I'm back at my parents' house. I hadn't been back for 10 months, most of 2020. That was very tough and it was complicated and it was a whole time, and I could make a whole video about having to be in a lockdown by myself, without any other human being around me for months. I don't know if you're interested in that. Sure, I talk a lot, so it will be fine. So I'm back here. Everything was very safe, just in case you're wondering. I took all the PCRs required. I did all the quarantining required. Everything's good. So yeah, I'm very happy to be back with my parents. After it's refreshing after last year being by myself during the whole mess. So let's get back to books. I get distracted a lot. So I'm gonna start talking about my Goodreads challenge. So I put myself a Goodreads challenge of 50 books the 1st of January. I thought that was a very good number. Last year I read 45 books. It made sense to just one up it. I've read already 12 books, which I'm proud of myself, but I'm scared because I'll talk about that later because I have other goals here. So I have 50 books to read this year. Let's see if I achieve that. If I don't, it's fine. I think everyone needs to get back being okay without binging books or having read a trillion books. It's fine. It's all okay. You're okay if you've read 10 books. You're okay if you've read none. Books are just things that you should do because of pleasure and not because of pressure. It's just my opinion. I have other 8 goals. They're nothing very profound, but I just wanted to share them with you to see if by the end of the year I've done them or not, or if I've changed goals. I don't know why in booktube there's this things of like, these are my goals and I didn't achieve them, or I did, and it's like, well, your goals are allowed to change and are allowed to grow and are allowed to vary because of different things. Don't pressure yourself into reading things that you don't want to just because you want to achieve some goals. It's not worth it. It's probably gonna make you have a reading slump, which is very undesired, as I can see. Oh my god, I want to talk about so many topics and I haven't. So let's see if I get back into filming and editing and all that stuff. Okay, so my first goal is getting up to 50% read on my Excel sheet. So, you know how I told you I spent 5 months of lockdown by myself? You know how I told you? That's how my Excel sheet happened. I have now an Excel sheet with every single book in my bookshelf. I don't have a lot of important data, to be very fair, like ratings, because I didn't think about that when I was doing it, and I don't really care about the rating of a book. If I like it or hate it enough, it shall stay. But right now, I'm 44% read of my bookshelf, like 44% of my bookshelf is read, and I want to get it up to 50%. I think that if I read the 50 books that I plan to read, I should be up to 50%. However, I also have to take into account the fact that I'm gonna probably purchase other books. So I think it's a challenge between reading more than I purchase. So let's see if I can do that. My second goal is reading 2 books from Brandon Sanderson. So I have a friend and she loved The Way of Kings and Words of Radiance, I think is the second one. She's reading Oathbreaker. I don't know. I don't know the names of Brandon Sanderson's books, but she's reading that whole thing, the Stormlight Archives, I think. I don't know. Don't come for me. So I've met this man. I'm probably gonna put a picture up here when I met him, because I had some books signed. Because I read, when I was a teenager, when I was like 14, I read Steelheart, Firefight, and Calamity. I don't know if I read Calamity. Maybe I should finish Calamity at some point. I don't know. I just remember loving it, and I got him to sign that and Mistborn because I was reading that at the time. But now I haven't read it yet because it's a trilogy and it's very intimidating when the books are very thick. So the two books I want to read from Brandon Sanderson are two standalones that I have over there and I'm too lazy to get. And those are Warbreaker and Elantris. Elantris. I'm pretty sure it's Elantris. I want to read them because for now they're standalones, and I've heard that they're a good entry point to the Sanderson Cosmere situation. So I'm gonna give it a try. I hope I like it, because I've bought a lot of books from Sanderson without having read many things from him, but I trust him and he's very sweet. When I met him, best experience meeting an author ever. It's not like I've met a lot of authors, but it was very good. Like, he's excellent, and I didn't have, like, we didn't have a lot of time to talk to him, but it was fine. It was great. I hope that I can read more books from him in a more like fantasy heavy thing instead of a young adult situation. Although I like his other young adult, like I like the looks of the young adult series, which I don't know the name of. I just know that it has a cool name and has a cool premise, so I may read that too. We'll see. So my third goal is to read all Rick Riordan's books. I love Uncle Rick. Percy Jackson is to Jen said what Harry Potter was. I've said what I've said. I know Percy Jackson is not as big as Harry Potter, but it represents, it fills the same hole in our souls that Harry Potter filled in millennials' hearts. You know what I mean? So because of that, I read Percy Jackson when I was a kid, and I read a lot of Rick Riordan's works when I was a kid. And there was a point that I was just like, I cannot read him anymore because I've grown up. I'm an adult. I'm whatever. I'm 19. Like, when I said that, I was like 16. I wasn't an adult. If you are 16 and you think that you're an adult, I know that you think that. And I wholeheartedly believe that you believe that, because I did too. No, I'm now 19 and I'm like, fuck no, I'm a kid. I'm a child. I'm a baby. Whatever. Because of that conception of I've grown, I'm not the target market anymore, I stopped reading it. It's just like, why would I stop reading an author that brings me so much joy just because their target demographic is a little bit younger than I am? But I think that I should still be able to read his books because they truly bring me joy. So that's why I want to read the two series that I've missed on, which are the Apollo Trials and the Magnus Chase situation. I want to not miss out on being as happy as when I read Rick Riordan's words. So yeah, and also, those are the books I reread. I reread Percy Jackson, the whole series, and I reread 4 of the 5 books of the Heroes of the Olympus, and I finally read, because I hadn't read it before, the last book of the Heroes of the Olympus series. I have comments, I have thoughts. I'll tell you all about those thoughts later on in life. My 4th goal is to read more Spanish and Latin American classics. So I don't know if you know. You probably don't know, but if you're a friend of mine, probably you know. I'ma tell you either way. I was born in Venezuela, and when I was 6, I moved to Spain, and like a quarter of my family is from Spain, the rest are from Venezuela, but the heritage is a little bit messed up. The thing is, because when I was 14, I entered the American school system in Europe, I didn't really get to read a lot of Spanish classics or Latin American classics. So I wanted to fix that. So I bought the Quixote, which I'm not ready yet. I'll read it, just not yet. I've bought Doña Bárbara because that's the biggest classic that I've heard from Venezuela. And I've also bought La Celestina, which is a play that was very big in the 1500s. So yeah. I'm just gonna try to read them, understand them. I'm buying them from Cátedra, which is an editorial that I enjoy personally for classics because it gives you a lot of context before that allows you to understand the play better. Mainly because usually these books you read them in a class with lessons and discussions, and I'm not gonna be having that, so I want to have the most context that I can, you know. So my fifth goal is to read all Alice Oseman's works. Alice Oseman is the author from Heartstopper, Radio Silence, and such. So I really want to read all of her works because I don't know, they feel very refreshing and fun, and I really enjoy the way she writes. So I want to read it all. I am currently reading Solitaire, and if I get back to Spain at this point, I don't know, I'll read the two following books because I've already read Heartstopper and Radio Silence. My goals are very fucking simple. Like I wish I could explain to you more, but so my sixth goal is to read the trifecta of dystopia, which I've discussed before. So 1984, A Brave New World, Fahrenheit 451. I want to read them all and discuss them because I think I've had this barrier for me to read them because they're the classics from dystopia, and I always thought of myself as not a very intellectual person. However, I can read those books and then I can criticize them if I don't like them, or rave about them if I like them. I've already struggled a lot to read 1984 several times, so I think my opinion is very clear on that. But we'll see. You never know. Maybe I end up loving the fucking book. So yeah, I just want to get it off my chest and be able to say I've read the trifecta, just because I know that 13-year-old Audrey would really appreciate it. Right now, myself, I'm like, like, right now, let me tell you my expectations. I think I'm not gonna like 1984. I think I'm gonna like Fahrenheit 451. However, I'm gonna have criticisms on it. And I think I'm gonna like the most A Brave New World. I don't know how much, but I think I'm gonna like it the most. So we'll see. Maybe my predictions are wrong. You never know. Seventh goal. My seventh goal is to read more consistently rather than binge read. So I told you that I read 12 books, and I don't usually read. Like, I either read too much or not read at all. And I think that that's just a problem because it feels like reading is my guilty pleasure when it's not. It's a hobby like anything else. However, I think I should develop a healthier relationship with it. And if I feel like binging, I should totally read as many books as I want. And if I feel like stopping, stop a little bit. But not to stop for months and then read 20 books in a sitting, because I don't think that's a healthy way to keep a hobby. And reading really does help me feel better, because when I watch a show, it's a lot of sensory stimulation in a way. Like, my eyes and my ears are engaged on this, and my emotions, of course, but sensory wise, my eyes and my ears are involved in it. Makes me be not confused, but like just overwhelmed, in the sense that I never stop thinking, and then you battle that with noise from the outside, so it feels very loud in my head when I watch a show or when I'm listening to music for a long time. However, with reading, I put some classic music on the background because that's what really helps me concentrate, and I just have my head emptying it out with the book that I'm reading. It's great. I love it. It's a great experience. I've always felt that it was something that I shouldn't be doing because I was a nerd if I did it, or because I was weird if I did it, or whatever. I always felt that it was a bit of a secret and I had to like read so much and then stop so I look normal. And I don't think that's a good relationship to have with something that I love so much. So I want to change that. Right now I'm not reading that much and I'm scared that I'm gonna slump. So tomorrow, which is when I'm editing this, I'm gonna try to read a few pages from Solitaire, because I'm actually reading it with a friend and I'm like 13 chapters in, so I should be able to read it. My last goal, which shouldn't be like, I shouldn't have put it in the last position because it's a little underwhelming, but it's Anna Karenina. I want to read Anna Karenina. Why? Like 2 years ago, I started reading it and I loved it. It was so good. It was so gossipy. I loved that shit. Like, I loved it so much because it was just, it felt like Russian novelty gossip, and that's my shit. Like, they were like, over explaining some stuff and I loved it. Like, they were explaining some crap that I didn't really care about, but I was caring about it because the characters were involved in it. Loved it. I was reading about a cheating husband and the hurt wife and how he fucking had to sleep in the fucking office, and I fucking loved every second of it. I don't know why, I just enjoy that gossipy thing. However, Anna Karenina is so long that you have to read it back to back. That's not the type of book that you read like, let's read 20 pages a week. Like, this is the type of book that you read 100 pages like in a sitting, just because of the gossip. So I really want to finish it. It's so exciting. I love it. In fact, I've been very crazy about Russian classics for some reason. I don't know why. I've almost finished, and I still count it as almost finishing. I've almost finished Master and Margarita. If you don't know what that is, I'll finish it and give you a masterclass on it. What about that? Because I don't know, I enjoy how Russian classics are written or translated, I guess, and how the whole thing is. I don't know why. It's just interesting. It's just fun. I don't know. I don't know what is about Russian classics. And also, I can tell you the story of how I fell in love with Mikhail Bulgakov, because I did fall in love with that man just by reading his like a little bit of a biographic summary. Yeah, I know. I'm very well aware. That sounds strange, but doesn't it happen to you that you read about someone, you're like, man, if I had lived in the same place at the same time, I would have fallen in love with this man? I have that, and I hope that if I read a more in-depth biography, I don't find out that he was a piece of trash, because that would make me very, very sad. So yeah, those are my goals. Those are my objectives. I don't have a lot of ambitious one, maybe the Rick Riordan stuff, but it's just, I only have like 8 books to read, so it's fine. Like, generally should be fine. I want to reread the Keynes Chronicles though, because I read it in Spanish before, and I think that you miss out a lot in the translations. I hope that you enjoyed the video. I hope that I become a bit more consistent. I think I need to start getting into the habit. I've been just hanging out with my parents for the past 2 weeks, so it's reasonable that I haven't been really prioritizing recording videos. In fact, I started the YouTube channel when I started it because I thought that I might not be able to go to see my parents, so I wanted to have a distraction. But now that I'm here, I'm distracted from a distraction, and I want to do this, but at the same time I have other things to do, so I'll try my best to do it. However, I'm not gonna force myself if I don't want to, or if I'm reading, bro. That's the reason I didn't film for the first few weeks, is because I was reading Rick Riordan. That's the whole fucking thing. But yeah, now I have a headache. This is great. Okay, see ya next week, hopefully. Yes, next week. I'm gonna say it. See ya next week. Love you all. Go and do great things with your lives. Bye, I guess. Yeah.